that. I just want to get like this brief overview here because this is just a lot of information to take in. I do also want to mention that Smash World Tour, in their response to Alan today, posted a screenshot of the email communication they had between Nintendo, which showed them declining their licensing for 2022 and 2023, which they didn't even apply for 2023, by the way. And after their verbal communications with Nintendo, where they said the time is over, it is very clear now, with that evidence being posted, why the Smash World Tour was canceled. This is something Nintendo's done before with Big House, where Big House was told by Nintendo you probably shouldn't go through with this. They decided to go through with it anyway. Then they got formally cease and desisted right before the event took place. What happened here is very much the same. Nintendo strongly implied that they shouldn't go through with the Smash World Tour, considering they weren't getting a license. They said verbally that the time of unlicensed events is a time that's gone now. So after they got declined, they naturally believed that they shouldn't go through with it, or else they'll have what happened with Big House happen to them. And Nintendo is not a company you want to get into a litigious battle with or anything, so they made the decision that it needs to be canceled because Nintendo is implying heavily that it needs to be canceled. So that evidence is now posted on the Smash World Tour's response, so it's another important piece to this puzzle. And there's one more thing I want to mention before really diving in. I think it's important to mention that immediately after publicizing this and everyone having the chance to read it, there were like 10 or 15 tournament organizers in the Smash scene that have been around for decades, and they're very well respected, that all came out to talk about how negative their experience with Alan has been over the years, and corroborating a lot of the claims that Smash World Tour made about him, as well as claims made by BTS about Alan. And these are tournament organizers that weren't even associated with this drama in the slightest. In fact, one of them was even praised by Alan in his statement, but then they came out and said, well, that's weird because we had a terrible experience with you, and then listed all the problems they had with Alan. These were people that weren't named and shamed by Alan. They weren't forced to respond or defend themselves. These were people in the scene that have had an experience with Alan that they wanted to talk about publicly and call him out for his bad behavior, and they called his statement manipulative or even just straight up wrong or lying. And it was a lot of people all going against Alan and corroborating the claims made by Smash World Tour and BTS. Now again, it is all hearsay. There was no hard evidence or anything like that. It was just an overwhelming amount of tournament organizers that have been in the scene for decades that are all saying the same thing about Alan. Meanwhile, on Alan's side of things, it's only him. I have yet to see even a single person come out and try and verify anything Alan has said or corroborate any of his points. It is just him. Now, whether or not that has any weight is entirely up to you. For me personally, I think with the overwhelming amount of support for Smash World Tour and BTS claims, as well as saying a lot of what they've said, and these, keep in mind, these are unassociated tournament organizers. They don't work for BTS, they don't work for VGBC or anything like that, yet they still are giving their first-hand accounts with Alan, and they're all very much similar, like they're echoing the same things. To me, that carries a lot of weight because those are very well-respected figures in the scene, and they are just blowing the lid wide open here, letting the genie out of the lamp and giving their full, unfiltered opinion on Alan and his behavior from what they've experienced. Alan doesn't have that kind of support. There's no one that's saying those things for him. He is the only one that is saying the things he is. No one else is backing him up. Whether or not that's because they're afraid of public backlash is very possible. That could be an explanation. But there's really no telling. The support on the other side of things is just hard to ignore. I am no longer the CEO of Panda, and I will no longer be a part of the Smash community. I do not wish to return. The community deserves the truth, and I'm not afraid to call out names I have to. The private information of myself and members of Panda have been leaked online. This has gone too far. If there's anyone who is interested in purchasing my shares of Panda, please reach out to the company. Divesting is a complex process that takes time. Okay. So he wants to fully step away from the community after everything here, and he's about to drop the hottest potato the community's ever seen with names as well. For a quick summary, the actual truth here is a message of notes I took during a conversation with a TO on April 14th, 2022. Ken said that you said you'd kill everyone who doesn't work with you. Is that true? Yeah, so it turns out Ken is spreading shit. To the point that Blank even asked Blank, how do you really feel about Panda? Do you have any hesitations? To which Blank said he has none. Blank. Redacted. This is like a CIA document. Everything's fucking redacted. Right away though, he mentions that BTS and Smash World Tour feel threatened by them. it feels like the opposite. What are you talking about? The whole community was celebrating Panda working with Nintendo, including the other orgs. I don't really know where that's coming from. The Smash community has always been very symbiotic, where when one org is thriving, every org is thriving. Like, they all work together in the same bundle of success. It's not really like, oh man, Panda's doing well, now we're fucking threatened because now our shit's gonna be bad. Like, if Panda's doing well, it means now there's more interest, and that is good for the other events too, and it's always felt that way. Maybe it was different behind the scenes with Alan, I don't really know. It's super hard to decipher this mess right here. But the impression I've always got is every tournament organizer likes when other tournaments are successful, because it's mutually beneficial to everyone. Yeah, all of this right here, I mean, that's a fine thing. Harassment, all that shit is always terrible. That's an absolutely horrible thing that happens during situations like this. 100%. The Smash World Tour was the perfect gambit for VGBC. Information came to us from an anonymous source all the way back in 2020. VGBC was feeling pushed out of the community from losing so much ground to BTS, they wanted something of their own and came up with the Smash World Tour Gambit. He's treating this like he's Lelouch from Code Geass. What do you mean, a Gambit? And losing ground to BTS? It's not a competition. Again, everything I've ever seen from the Smash community orgs is everything's grassroots, well, it was. So when one thing's succeeding, it helps everything else succeed around them. It's always beneficial. Like, I don't think people are vying for territory or anything like that. I don't know why he's calling it like a gambit. Smash World Tour doesn't get shut down. VGBC gets their own circuit without the years of negotiation with Nintendo, which they were trying their absolute best to do and were in communication with them for a long, long time, doing everything they could. It's not like they just wanted to go behind their back. Smash World Tour uses the threat of social media backlash against Nintendo to pressure Nintendo into giving them a license, which they didn't do until they had already been declined a license. Like, they didn't pressure Nintendo into giving them a license, they did this to explain why they were shutting down, why they had to shut down. It wasn't leverage to try and get Nintendo to give them a license. Like, it wasn't trying to mount pressure to get them to release the Krabby Patty secret formula. We're shutting down, and here's why. I want to come in here real quick and further clarify on this point, because I see a lot of people hung up on this as a possible explanation for how things got so shitty about VGBC trying to make a big hoopla publicly in order to force Nintendo to give them a license. And I just think that you're not really going through the situation properly. The information all came out after they were declined, not only for 2022, but 2023. So no matter how much public backlash Nintendo would have faced from VGBC's statement with the Smash World Tour being cancelled, it would have never resulted in them getting a license. Like, if they had done this months ago, like if for some reason VGBC and the Smash World Tour were like, hey, Nintendo's being real douchebags right now. They're flopping around their meat and, you know, trying to scare us because they still haven't given us our license. It's been radio silence. Can we get a hashtag Nintendo answer SWT? Then I would totally agree that they were trying to strong-arm Nintendo into giving them a license through public outrage and backlash. But the fact that all of this happened after they were declined for this year and next year, it just doesn't really make sense, because it could have never resulted in them getting a license, because it's already been decided that they're rejected. Smash World Tour gets shut down by Nintendo, and now VGBC is the martyr of the community due to Nintendo, and the community will rally behind their other events to support them. Which they didn't need, the community already supported them. I don't know how he came up with such a weird view of the scene. Now, maybe things are different behind closed doors, I guess, but they had tons of support. Their YouTube channel was doing nothing but growing. Their events had huge viewership. Like, it's not like they needed this. In fact, this is very bad for them. They lost a lot of money on it and a lot of eyes. Recently been informed the main hotel in San Antonio listed in the Smash World Tour Discord did not have any pre-existing block or any expectation of large groups this weekend. There was no block canceled. It simply never existed. That was debunked by 2 people on Twitter already. Well, that was fucking quick. Let me see. Because I already can tell you right now, we at Moist Esports had paid for travel to that area. Like, that was a thing. Where can I find that being debunked? So it'd be quite shocking to realize that that was never happening in the first place. I don't know about the rest of the statement's legitimacy, but to claim the event was never going to happen because no hotel block is ridiculous. People were given stipends/flights for the event prior to its cancellation, plus the TPC venue was booked that weekend. Bear Dog Events LLC, DBA Smash World Tour, money receipt. Okay. This was quite the Allen gambit of lying here with this statement. The rest could be true. We'll still keep reading, but that was quickly debunked. That was a pretty bold one to make a claim on without being 100% sure, because it's easily provable if it was booked or not. I don't know why he'd try and work that angle if it's not real. It was like 10 or 15 minutes later where I was made aware that you can still find the booking on Marriott. I already posted this information at the start of the video. I just wanted to give you everything as I went through it in real time on stream last night. But yeah, and Smash World Tour also posted screenshots of the invoice and everything. The hotel, all of it was booked. It was planning on going down. That claim from Alan is, without a shadow of a doubt, wrong. Whether or not it was wrong on purpose, like maliciously trying to mislead people or not, that's still up in the air. We don't know. Or he could have just been completely misinformed by somebody and then recklessly posted that statement in his official document. This right here is a fine thing to state, like, if they were confused by mixed messages, why didn't they email back? But they weren't confused by mixed messages. According to the Smash World Tour tournament organizers, they were told that the time of unlicensed events is behind them, and then the night before Thanksgiving said they got their email that they are not going to be licensed for this event. So connecting those dots, which anyone would do, is basically saying, you know, you can't really do this anymore. Since they were told verbally that that time is gone, and then they didn't get their license, the natural conclusion someone would draw is, we can't do this. And Nintendo is not a company you want to go into a legal battle with. So I can absolutely understand where that would come from. If there was confusion, I'm sure they would have emailed back, but there wasn't because they were told verbally one thing and then received that the rejection of a license. So I don't even think there was confusion. It was pretty put in stone. But this wasn't a claim they made. They weren't saying that he sabotaged them or got them shut down. Just that his actions of strong-arming the community with threats against, like, BTS with their relationship with Nintendo made the entire scene difficult. This is talking about moving around the scheduling around BTS and Smash World Tour and, like, booking over each other and having to be flexible with dates. I also don't really get this one. Smash World Tour leadership stood to gain the most out of anyone. How? They lost their biggest event. And not only that, they lost any chance of having, like, a Nintendo relationship because of how incendiary this whole situation has been. It was a net loss for everyone. Legitimately everyone. I don't know what he thinks they gain out of this. Like, community goodwill? They already had that. More eyes on their future events? They already had that. Like, people just watch the events regardless. I don't know why he thinks they gained anything. It's just a full net loss. It's just a bad thing all around. I don't know where he gets this view of, like, them wanting community dominance. Like, I don't think they've ever shown anything like that. They're more than willing to, like, let tournaments run however they want to run. Join the Panda Cup, don't join the Panda Cup, whatever. But, like, with Panda, there was the exclusivity to it, where they wanted everything to be exclusive, they wanted all the broadcasting rights. That sounds more like community dominance as opposed to VGBC's events being like, yeah, you guys can do whatever you want. VGBC doesn't even charge you to watch party their events. Kin posted receipts. I had a feeling he would. I have a feeling there's going to be a flood of receipts coming out after this. Yeah, this was the final act of this play here. There is a lot happening all at once. Sidebar, I've been told that someone named LD is claiming I said things. I don't know who LD is, nor do I care. As far as I'm aware, I've never talked to them, never seen them, and never met them in my life. LD is one of the actual biggest people at Beyond the Summit. Like a founder. You know him. You would have had to know him, especially since you've already been talking about Beyond the Summit. I don't know why he's making these easily provable false claims. Such as the hotel never being booked or whatever. Yeah, I'll double check. I'm pretty sure LD is one of the founders of Beyond the Summit. Like, been in the scene forever. So if you just go to, like, very base level, like if you just want, like, base level, not even digging too deep, going to Beyond the Summit, Founded March 2012. Key people are David LD and David Gods. Like, they've been there the whole time. And you've been talking about Beyond the Summit and talking to Beyond the Summit, as you've mentioned in your statement. Thus, you know LD. I don't know who Liquipedia is. I've never met Liquipedia. That's such a weird claim to make. Here's the background of my two whole personal interactions this year with BTS, or more specifically with one of the most unsavory individuals I've ever had the displeasure of interacting with, Kin Chin, aka Hotbid. Kin is also the one that just dropped the fattest load of receipts on Twitter a moment ago. At least it looks like it at a glance. Voice crack at a glance. He's got like 7 tweets that he queued up here after reading this. The community and sets new standards for high quality productions in Smash all the time. Yet you don't know one of the founders, like one of the key people. I thought this was going to be a screenshot of Kin looking terrible here, like of him looking really unreasonable and mean.